Hey everybody, hope you had a great trading week, and we're going to get right into it. So we're going to go through about 25 names. I do want to go through Bitcoin tonight. I do want to go through Ethereum. I definitely want to go through the IWM, which is the Russell 2000, what transpired there today and why it's so significant. And I have a lot to get through, so I'm going to try and do it fairly quickly and cover a lot of ground. So we're going to just jump right into it. Tonight at the close, AFRM Holdings got a contract or a deal, however you'd like to phrase it, with Amazon. What you're seeing now is that this stock is shot up pretty drastically, and I just kind of want to walk through this. For now, these are all key levels that I had marked off, and obviously this news took you right above it. You did reject this 90 level, which was the low of the first opening bar. For now, you've rejected it. I'm not so sure how that'll hold, but I just want to show this. So if you're looking at what's going on here, this is right where your point of control is, VWAP, everything. But not closing above 90 is going to be pretty substantial. That's going to mean that whoever was entering here, they want out. Whoever thought that this was the area they wanted to buy and hold, you see how they gave up here and here and here, right? And how that flipped. They're not back. They're not buying. They're not back. So that's going to be an issue. So what we're going to have to do is watch that 90 level. It's pretty significant. Hopefully you get the close over that, and then you see the push into Monday. I don't know if we're going to see a 40-point move. I mean, it's good news. Is it doubling news? Possible. I mean, how many people are on Amazon? What is it? A couple 100 million that now have access to AFRM? It's pretty much a big deal. So it also might allude to the fact that they might be an acquisition target now. He does a lot of that. Well, why pay a company when you can make the profit yourself? And sometimes he does do that. But in regards to AFRM, I mean, you're going to just have to wait and watch how it trades. I will give you this, and this is helpful for people. Let me rephrase it. I think it's helpful for people. So I take off the indicators, but what you do, you leave your daily points on, right? So you have your support and resistance, and then you put fib levels on the 1 minute between the breakout and the high. And you can see right up here how you have that evening star, right? That marked your high. And what does that tell us, right? We know evening stars, talk about a short-term top. That's exactly what that one told you. I read perfectly. For those that are new, I'm going to link a candlestick video to this. It'll be in a card, and it'll definitely be at the end of this video, and I suggest that you watch it because it's pretty pivotal, and it will change the way that you trade a little bit. It'll make it a little bit better, get you to think a little differently. Anyway, so from here to here are your range. And you can see how that kind of played out, right? How we just kind of sat here, that became support. This one flipped. I mean, it's crazy how these work after hours, but you have to think about it. When you're running after hours, all that people have really that they can use as support and resistance levels are what? Fib. I mean, what else are you going to use besides fib levels after hours and your daily support and resistances? Other than that, you don't have anything. You really can't be using your RSI and your MACD, right? Because you're not going to have great readings. So, and a lot of people don't even have after hours products that work properly. So you're going to use this, and everyone's going to look at this, and that's what you're saying. So you can see how it tried to hold that level, failed, broke. So right now, 89.70 is resistance. So that's one way that you could use fib levels. BBIG, this is one that we actually traded in the community today at the end of the day. And, look, when you're trading things like this, just to put this in perspective, you have to realize that you're trading this, and you have to look at it like you're trading an option. You cannot look at this and be assigning 10 cents to it or 20 cents to it and getting out. You have to realize that I'm going to commit X capital to this, and if I get cut in half, I get cut in half. We did it, or the way that I did it today in the community was I assigned a level to it where it shouldn't have broken. But I tried to make it pretty clear that no matter what, I was going to hang on to a portion of it. Now, what does that mean? It means that I really don't care. I didn't really care what it did, because no matter what it was going to do, it was not going to affect my bottom line too much. It could have gone to zero and it wouldn't have affected me that much. But the return is there because I think that this one could get squeezed. So, for a true gamma squeeze, you need to be in a position where you don't have strikes, okay? And with the amount of volume that came in today and the amount of buying that came in today, if you go look at your system, I throw in the volume. And you throw in your system, what you will see with this is you will see very clearly one thing. You will see that you have a strike that stops at 7.5 in September. Okay, there's nothing else out there. Meaning, if I get over 7.5, the people that are short this for September have no way to cover. And once that starts, if you go to October, I believe I went out to October. Let me look at one of my other platforms. Because when I was looking at this, I believe that even October, November, right, September goes to 7.5. And let me just go out to December, see how far out they go to December. Yet December doesn't have anything like that. They stop at 5.5. Let's go to, that's December 22nd. Hold on one second. Let's go to October. October stops at 10. So, that's an issue. If you're short this right now, and even January stops at 10, if you're short this right now, you have a real problem, right? Because how are you going to cover this? You can't cover it with options. So now you have one other way, right? Because you could be short it and then just buy calls against it, marry them to your short, and then just leave it on for 3 months and not care. And then your margin requirements will change at your broker. They're not going to care because you have the right to execute, so you're locked in. Once you get over that level, that's what the gamma squeeze is. Once you get over that 7.5 level, they're screwed. I mean, I wish I could say it another way, but that's really what it is. So that's what you're trying to do. So for me, I just used it as an option. I just felt it had a lot of upside based upon that. I know that people bought it down here, and congratulations. For me, it was this little move that it did, and then that was it. I just hopped in it. And, it was this little breakout right here. And then, of course, they do the undercut, and then they run it up at the end of the day. And here you are. So I believe this can go a lot higher if this gets over 7.5, and that's why I played it. So for those that were asking about it. But I do think it can get a lot higher. How much higher? Well, I mean, I can go through it, but with the option buying I saw today, I think it can go a lot higher because I think they're going to squeeze the heck out of people. So 940. I mean, I'm trying to be conservative with it because I don't want people to go out there and say that. I hate when people are saying it's going to go to the moon and all that, but you need to watch this. Okay, I think this can easily get back up to 940. Let me leave it at that. AMEH, I glossed over and I didn't mean to. Let me take out this VWAP for a moment. We're not going to use daily VWAP, and I'll just put in the simple moving averages, and we'll start getting through this a little bit faster now that I've covered those two grounds. So I actually like this. I like bars like this that completely encompass wide swaths. So and what do I mean by that? So you see how you have this from here over, how this bar encapsulates all that? I can't stress this enough. I love that. That's what I'm looking for. Show me that this bar is in charge and took everybody out. And that's what it did here. It said, I have buying. I'll take everything you have in here. That's how I read it. That's how I read the candlestick. Now, what did we do? We got to the 50 and we got to the 21. All right, not a big deal. What we need to do now is flip it, right? And I really wanted to cover this one. I got asked a lot of questions about this one today. And there's a huge short position in this, getting over 78.50, and they're going to have to reevaluate. Okay, and that gets me above what, too? And I just want to point this out. It's getting above 78.50. See this 76 level? See this little bump right here? That's your first bump getting over once we get over this little line. So you can see how you flipped here and you hopped over, and then now you've crossed it, right? So the bottom might be in. Get over this, and we start getting over the first hump. And we get over this resistance of 76 where we couldn't close, right? That'll be substantive, but getting over 78.5 is greater. Getting that could mean that we have flipped the channel. Flipping the channel means you can go to the top of the wedge. Top of the wedge is 111. I think that's possible. BILL, I got asked a lot about today. And, it's just crazy, just an absolute monster move. And this is not something that I traded or was a party to today. But just an absolute monster move, even from the open 250 to 283. And I mean, just wow. Not really much more to say, just unbelievable how well it did. So that's a pretty substantial breakout on this. And we can kind of go through that and just look at this for a moment on the weekly. I mean, that's pretty big. So as everyone that has followed me for a little bit, and if you don't and you're interested in stocks and trading and thinking about things a little bit differently, I'd recommend that you do click the subscribe button and notifications. We do a lot of live, or I do a lot of live broadcasts as well. And if you want to be notified, you have to have the all notifications on. Anyway, see that line? What happens when you flip one of these lines? For people that have been paying attention, and I've been talking about this for some time, when you flip an upper channel line, you can go parabolic. That's what this is setting up to do, period. No question about it. So this is setting up for a much larger move. I don't think that this is done going. So the question is now, how do you play that? How do you benefit from it, right? You have to get over that wick. Wicks are what? Price rejection. So we have to get over that. Okay. Disney, everyone's getting all giddy and excited today about this. I don't get it. Frankly, I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't get it. So 181, that's been the level. What are we excited about? That it got over the 200-day? It's done that here, 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 here. So just to point this out to people so they understand this. When you have a chart like this, okay, and you start basing and going flat, right? These moving averages lose a lot of their levels. You need them to widen, not collapse together. Now, is it good that you're above this? Is it good that you had decent volume? Yes. But you need to get above 181 and stay above 181. We really have not done that since we had that meltdown. Okay, this was decent earnings on subscriber growth and everything, and they sold us down. So you have to get through all this. So I'm not in a big hurry to buy a $200 stock for the possibility of making 8 points, unless it was some kind of hedge like we did today with Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. But other than that, I'm not interested in this. I think you need to watch and wait and let get above 181, close above 186.28. Okay, then you have something to build on. Bitcoin, I got asked a lot about, and so I'm going to do it. So let's just talk about what's going on here. So this was our support line, right? And then we broke support. Let's get rid of these indicators for a moment, and let's just talk about Bitcoin. So here was your level, okay? This was your support level. And what happened? You formed an H, you broke it, but you didn't break this level. Now, this is not a true, just so we're clear, this is not a true bottom. It doesn't matter. I mean, if it goes up, it doesn't matter, right? But technically, this is not a true double bottom. And the reason is because I never undercut this. If I had undercut this and snapped back, I actually believe this would have been a lot more powerful to people, because I'm not the only one that's looking for that. So you bounce around here, it trades up, and that was it. And then it takes off, right? Now, what has this done? It's made a rising wedge, okay? And now I'm going to get rid of these levels for a moment so we can just focus on something. And I can put them back, anytime. But I just want to focus on this, because this is the important part of what's going on here that we're not really paying attention to, okay? You need to not break this, okay? If you break this, you're going to go lower. Okay, so, and I just want to point this out here. See that? How this level, right? 46,250, 46,344. I mean, you basically have a double bottom. Do you see where that double bottom is and where you keep closing? The low of this breakout bar. Okay, and yes, I do get this technical, and it does make a difference because it shows where a buyer is sitting. So there is a buyer sitting there who's basically saying at the end of the day, because wicks are what? Price rejection. So they're taking all that in, right? That's what we need to watch. So you need to hold this level. This is your support level. Now we can overlay the bells and whistles and see if there's anything else that's there. Well, isn't that interesting, right? We're sitting right where the 200-day is. So you need to hold this, and you need to hold that level. And then after that, you really need to hold this 45 level. So you're basically looking at 45.50, right? If you break that, get out of the way, because that means I've broken the trend line. It means I've broken support, and it means I've broken the 200-day. So you'd have to get out of the way. And that should take you to, probably 40,000 and then go from there. Now, that said, let's get rid of everything. And let's look at this the other way. Okay, and we're going to look at this from the bull case for a moment. So now here you are with Bitcoin, right? So you can use this peak now that's sitting up there, that evening star peak. So now you have this big cup that's here. Getting through this line, right? Getting through 50,000, which seems to be an issue, and this could motor. If this gets through 50,000 and closes above 50,000, you could go back up to here, right? It's not going to be in a day, but as we said before, it does what? It goes up based upon what, right? If you break the wedge line, you have the ability to go to the top of the wedge. That's how you need to think, and that's where it could go. But you need to watch this as your support. You need to flip 50 for, 15,000. So, I mean, you're basically looking at what? 25% return, maybe a little more, and versus your risk here. So just something to keep in mind. But I do like it. But you really need to hold in here, and you have to watch that level that I drew. It's very important. So DLO, there's not really much to do. I just wanted to cover it because I got asked a lot about it today. You're just holding right in this range, right? Give me a close over 68 3/4 or pop over 70. If I do that, you're going to have my attention, and I'll try and stay in it. And I think you could get back up to this 92 level. I think it could run again. But I got a base. We know another stock that just looks like this that we have in the newsletter, right? That has a similar pattern, right? See how you're wedged in here and then you break and you go? That's what this DLO is setting up for. If you don't get the newsletter, there's a free copy of it for Wednesdays in the description. So you can just follow along. Every Wednesday I do a free version of it. So, but you see what I'm saying here? So now you need to flip that and get through it. Same thing, same pattern. So that's the whole thing. That's what your job is, right? Your job is to identify pattern recognition. That is your whole goal. Because when you can start to do that, it doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin, soybeans, oil, right? Small cap, large cap, they all are going to have different nuances, right? So your individual stocks are going to play a little differently for obvious reasons. They have individual risk. But once you learn how to do pattern recognition, everything changes. And then you start overlaying that with money management, you can do exceptionally well, in my opinion, once you learn the basics. So here you are, right? And you're wedged in here. And what did I do there? I drew a channel. It's basically the same channel, same trajectory, essentially. And what you're seeing here is you're just in this wedge line. Now, I really wanted it to come down to here to buy it. And of course, right, that's what's not going to happen now because that's what I want to do. I wanted to buy it and just put it away. Turning on the 8 here and getting to the 21, this is not something that I'm going to be in a big hurry here. I have to get through the 21. The 50's pointing down. I have this upper battle here, and I can have a line of resistance right up here where we've been sitting for a while that just happens to coincide with what? This breakout right here. So do I really want to be involved with all that? Not particularly, no. I wanted this to sell down and come to here. If you're in this, I would just stay in it. I don't think you're going to break the 200-day, and if you close below the 200, that should be your stop. FTNT is just an absolute monster. This is when it collapsed. I don't know if you remember that or not, but you collapsed down here, and then you broke out, and since then you've just been really just tearing. To me, the time to buy this is always the same, and we've been talking about this for some time. It's you buy it when it's at the 21-day, right? And that's what it's been doing. This line's completely negated, and we flipped it. And you can see the move from there. Since you flipped it, you're up 75 points. So now what do you do about it? You can't buy this. You can, but you have to realize that your trade's different. You have to do like a 5 or a 15-minute bar and trade it up that way. Realistically, you should be buying it every time it hits the 21-day. Every single time. Sometimes it goes to the 50 and you get lucky. But that's what you're looking for. Let's look at the weekly on this. Yeah. I mean, look, here's your flag. And these are pretty powerful patterns. So you see you have 3 here. When you break out of like when you have like 3 and you don't have much longer, sometimes they just go and they just push. So, and that could do that here. It could. You just have to realize how much risk do you want to take. Are you willing to buy it, at 316 with a 299 stop? I mean, I'm not really willing to do that. So, I need better risk versus reward, but it does look like it's going to grind higher. So GMVD is not one that I follow, but I was asked a lot about this one today. And then after this, I'm going to go through Ethereum. So, let me just go through this. I mean, I get it. You're looking at it where it was pre and post. Look, here's your level, that $3, right? And I'm not a big fan of these little ones. Everyone knows this. I look at them as option trades, and that's how I would tell you to look at this. As long as you're staying above this 313, you're fine. right? I mean, if you look at these little small trades, like smaller guys as option trades, what you're going to find is you basically have an option on something that doesn't expire, right? So if you think about them that way, you can start trading them and make a lot more sense. It's a lot different than when, you know, I see buy NVDA calls today and you have 3 weeks for them to work. This, you just, as long as it stays above here, you just don't care. So I would use this 313, and you can see this wedge line that I just drew. Tried to flip that wedge today and you couldn't. So pretty much you know exactly now where your pivot point is, and now you need this kind of volume. And I do like this kind of volume and how it's coming in. So congratulations to everybody that's in this one. This is not one that I played, but it did exactly what it needed to do today. So we're going to get rid of these indicators, and I'm going to get rid of all the, well, I can get rid of this line, but I really want to get rid of all the horizontal lines. So see how you flip this channel? This is day one of flipping that channel. Now, what should your stop be? If I pop back into this channel, okay, if I pop back into this channel, okay, you're going to revert to the mean. The mean that I use is the 21 days. So if you pop back into this channel, I would close the trade out, period, because you have the risk of going to here. Doesn't mean that it will, but you have a higher degree of probability of that happening. Staying out of this channel is going to be something akin to staying out of Bollinger Bands. I can almost guarantee by looking at it, right? Okay. So you want to be out of the band, and you want the band to widen, and that's when you can go parabolic. Right? A lot of people, I have a Bollinger Band video in here, one of the first videos I actually did, but it does explain the point. You know, a lot of people just go, oh, I'm selling it, it's out of the Bollinger Band. No. The Bollinger Bands can expand, and then like a week later, it can be in the band. There is a kind of a trick to this trade here that but I'm not going to get into it right now. It'll take too long. But how you're breaking out here, let this go. Just let this go. And your stop literally now should be that breakout bar. And look at that breakout bar. The low was what? The open. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. If those buyers go away, you don't want to be there. Right? If they don't want to be in it, you don't want to be in it. So, but other than that, I would stay with this and just constantly be moving the stop up. And I did say I want to go through Ethereum. And so let me just do that real quick here. So this has been in the same range that I've been waiting for a breakout for almost a month now. And I'm a pretty patient person, and I've learned that over the years. So I'm just watching this. I'm not really paying attention to the 21-day or the 8. And we put the 8 in, it's not going to look great right now. We know that. You know that by just looking at the chart, right? If you're basing, you know that you can throw it in, but you already know what it's going to read. So anyway, looking at this, what are we going to do about it? Nothing. Get me through 3333. Until I'm through that, I'm not touching this. Why? I have this huge, let's get rid of these now. I have this huge red bar from 1400 to here, 3400. Okay, that's in charge. Before I can even attempt this, I have to get through that level. Okay, that's what needs to happen. IWM, I just wanted to point this out. So I've been waiting for this day, and you know, I want to just go through this. So I come in with a premise every single day on what I think is going to happen. But that's not what I trade. I trade off of what actually happens. And it takes a little while to disconnect and remove your ego. And I don't want to get all hippie here. But you need to focus on that. There's a lot of people that were talking today, and I was listening to it. And it takes time. I understand that. And it doesn't happen in a day. But you need to be able to remove yourself and look at it and just go, this is what I think is going to happen. But I don't know what's going to happen. Like anybody coming in today would think there's probably going to be trouble in Afghanistan. People are going to sell tech into the weekend because they're not going to be long because August 31st is coming up, right? We're having issues where, you know, the Delta variant, you know, we've got a lot going on. Powell speaks, and it's going to be a disaster today. I'm coming in, I'm raising cash. Okay, that's the premise that you come in with, and you set these levels. What happens? NVIDIA takes out an all-time high. UPST takes out an all-time high. We're going to get to those in a minute. The IWM closes above the 50-day for the first time, right? So you can have all the plans in the world, but you need to trade what's in front of you, right? Not argue with it, not say, I can't believe this happened to me. The market doesn't even know you exist. It doesn't know I exist. It doesn't even know what's going on, right? So just keep that in mind. Just think differently about that. And I know it's hard to detach yourself from it. But do that and then look at it and go, what could I, when you have days like this, and don't get me wrong, this week was extremely frustrating. I don't care if you've been trading, 2 decades or 3 decades, or you started a week ago. This week was very difficult. You came into FDA approval, everybody's high-fiving themselves, and you're ending the week with a paper that's talking about, natural immunity. And please don't comment on this in the comments because I don't want to get into it. I'm just stating what's going on. You have Denmark that's saying they're going to get rid of the vaccine passport they were talking about. You have this lady that spoke and testified about the vaccine, and those stocks came in today. If someone told me that was going to happen on Friday after what happened on Monday, I never would have seen it. And just like yesterday, we had a game plan. Market looked like it was going to rip, right? We were long TNA, which is the 3X for this. And what happened to us, right? We had a horrible event that happened in the Middle East. And you come in today and go, well, how can that get any better? And it does get better. How did it get better? One of the generals spoke up and said, oh, it wasn't multiple bombs. It was one bomb. This is what's going on. They're working with us on getting out of there. So all of a sudden, that risk, whether it's factual or not, is mitigated. And that's really what happened. And nobody predicted that today. No one. So you have to trade your plan, but you can't let your thought process on what you think is going to happen affect it. I came in today and thought that we were going to get hit. And that's why I came out and said, hey, we have to put stops out. And we did not get hit. And so the game plan changes. And as it changed, it presented an opportunity to be a pretty profitable day. So I really wanted to get that out. So hopefully that wasn't too long of a rant. But, some of this doesn't carry over when I talk in the community just because, it's not audio. So, but you see here, look, this is what I've been waiting for. And of course, when does it happen? It happens today. It happens when I decided to put a small short on, right? That I get stopped out of, but I still, this is just the way it is. And anybody that's telling you any different is just not being honest. So you see how you're right in here? Look, from July 12th on, and today's the day? Today, this weekend is the weekend it decides to go. Okay, so that's what happens. And there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to ever change this from happening, ever. All you can do is manage that. But this is a beautiful move. And that's a lot of volume. And if you have an uptick on this, you may finally get through this level. So, if you're still long that TNA trade, which I did say this morning, into the rally at 224, I was telling people to close that trade, at what? 91 and a half, 90 and a half. Right? Something like 91. I think 91.40 I was saying it. I have to go and take a look. But, okay, that's not the move at the close, right? But you can't unring the bell. That's what I was saying because I felt like we were going to reverse at the end of the day. We didn't. So in other words, you have a plan. You think this is what's going to happen. But if it doesn't happen, you have to obey that. And that's how you have to look at it. It's just the way it is. And you're not going to be able to change that. But that could move. And if that moves, why I have this, and I'm running a little longer than I wanted to, if that moves, you're going to see WYNN go. You're going to see LVS go, right? Like they're setting up to go. RRR we have in the newsletter. That closed at an all-time high. That's setting up to go. Like that whole space, you're going to watch that whole space go up. And, even though it was bad for the VAX stocks today, frankly, might turn out to be pretty good for the open economy stocks. And that's what I'm wondering. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but it's something we can cover and get into Sunday night. We're going to do a live show Sunday night. So if you do subscribe, make sure you click notifications. Sunday night, 6:30, I want to address it because I definitely want to address it because it's important that you understand this going into Monday because it took me a while to kind of wrap my head around it. But let's just keep going. So MATX, you got to get through 79.04. You didn't do it yet, but you have a bullish engulfing at the top. You're riding the 8-day, and you should be able to pop over it. Pop over that, you're going to run this line. There's room here. This could be big. This could be a big winner. Opens where? At the low. Closes where? At the high. I have above average volume. MHH, I just wanted to go through this one very quickly. Here's your look. Okay. Let's just do it. There's no need to be in this. Okay, every bar that's trying to rally is red, and you're just sitting right on these lines. At least flip this channel before you get involved with it. NVIDIA did what NVIDIA does. It shakes you out, right? Gives you a little red bar. It made me think we were going to go through this. We did raise the stop yesterday. We still have two positions on from 203, 209. Some people might have someone from that day trade we did at 188. Doesn't matter. Bottom line, all-time high closed. What did we do today? Emphatically, okay, we flipped the channel. Okay, so some people, I did go out there with the option play today, and the reason for that is flipping that channel. We could go parabolic here, and this could go a lot higher. So now the question becomes how much higher. So let's get rid of all the segment lines for a moment, and we're going to get rid of all the indicators. And I'm just going to give you a back of the envelope way to do this and get rid of all that. So the easiest way to do this, and I'm just going to do it, I'll do it close. I'll give you a short-term target instead of a longer-term target. So, okay. So this is a short-term target. I'm going to show you the difference. Well, you know, I'll do it anyway. I'll show you the difference. So this is a shorter-term target based upon this area, okay? That's all I'm doing is just from this swing low to this swing high, okay? 250, 366. You could be there in 3-4 weeks. This target moved up drastically today. Where I was saying 1 to 3 months, this could really move now, right? Once you start setting up like this, you're going to start seeing some FOMO. So I think that could happen. I think it could happen sooner than people think. Planter, for the people playing this name, look, you have to close above this level. We've said it 100 times. It's just not doing it. Until it does that, and yes, this is the highest close that it's had since we began this, but you need to get above 25.76 and close above it. And then as soon as you do that, you could probably are going to 27.5. So ROKU, I mean, we're going to go over it, but here we are. Okay, you're rounding right here at the 200. You are holding the 8, but if you break that 8, this is going a lot lower. So you really need it to flip above this level. And you have a 1% move in the indexes today, and this did nothing. So you have to just take that into account. SGOC, so you can see you're at 913 after hours, closed at 918. This was your level, 991. You needed to get through. What happened? You got through, and you have a huge wick. Wicks are what? Price rejection. We rejected. So this is one that we covered this morning. And I thought that it was interesting that, you know, just to still go over it again. So let's just focus on this. So you closed at 26. Now you're at 30, right? And you can see, where did you stop? You just happened to stop right on what? One of the fib levels that was drawn from earlier, okay? From this, okay? So I think that's really important to understand. This was our level. And why am I showing you this? Because it points out emphatically that these are the levels that people are looking at if they're trading. And if everyone's looking at them, then that's why they work. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. There is some validity to the, you know, the mathematical equation. I'm not saying that, but it's reinforced by just people utilizing them. So keep that in mind. Now, sitting here, you should be good, right? You should hold this. If you don't hold this and you flip, you're going a lot lower, a lot faster. So keep that in mind. UPST, you know, we were stopped out of this, and it is what it is. It happens. It is something that, you know, we did put another trade on it today. I'm fine with that. It happens. Sometimes you get stopped out. Looks like it was going to break right here, and we got stopped out by taking out that lower low, and they just pulled a flim-flam, and here we go. So I'm going to say it again. I don't need every dollar. I just want the major meat of a move. So, but getting above this and closing above this line was everything to me. That's exactly what I was looking for. So now I can come into early in the week and push and go. And I think that that's what might happen here. So I would definitely put this one on my radar. Finally, ZIM. And this was the level that I liked. Okay. And then it broke through that level. I paid up for it in the newsletter, and then we got sold down, and it broke, and look at how it's riding the 8-day. I still wouldn't go near this until I can close over that 49.90. So far, it's showing me that it cannot close over 49.90, and that's an issue. So that's it. As always, if you need anything, please reach out, and please comment. Let me know which of these you think has the most potential. I always find that interesting.